Okay, so for my odd classes, I'll tell you where to stop at. For my even classes, guys, this video is going to be a little bit longer for you so that you can have the answers as you're working on the problems. Um, so we're going to continue to talk about the parts of a right triangle and using trigonometry. What you're going to learn from this lesson is how to use the trigonometric ratios, how to label the sides of a right triangle, and use the trig ratios to solve problems. These vocab words you have already, you can rewrite them and put them in your book for the week. You will need Desmos calculator to help you with these problems. So for my even classes, we haven't gotten to this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. The word complementary means to add two angles together. And, well, let me just say it this way. It's when two angles are added together and equal 90 degrees. Okay? So we're going to talk about what happens when we do the sine and cosine of complementary angles. So for an example, if I do sine of 30, what I want you to do is when you think of sine and you want to find a complementary angle that will equal sine of 30, then just write cosine, and then 30 plus 60 gives you 90. So you're going to say sine of 30 equals cosine of 60. And we're going to check this to make sure we're right. So here's my little graphic calculator. You can use Desmos. So I'm going to go sine 30, which equals 0.5. And then I'm going to go and type in cosine of 60, which equals 0.5 as well. And you can do this lots of times. So if that's the case, cosine of 20 would equal sine. Just remember, if you see cosine to do complementary, just write sine. And then what can you add to 20 to get 90? That would be 70. And you can use your calculator to help you check to make sure it's right. So what I want you guys to do is to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So go ahead and fill these in. And then once you fill them in, pause the video. And then once you fill it in for yourself, come back and check yourself so that you can have the answers. So pause this and stop the video for my even class and check to see if you got it right. All right, so this would be cosine of 60. This would be sine of 50. This would be cosine of, let's see, 76. Yeah, 7, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm good. Sine of 80. Cosine of 10. And this would be sine of 71. And you can put this in the calculator and check yourself. All right? Hopefully you paused and tried these out first. Okay, so now my even and odd classes. Let's go ahead and talk about these questions. My odd classes started on this sum. My even classes, you should have started on it from the other video, but we'll start together here. It says find the missing side, round the answer to the nearest tenth. Well, normally if this is a right triangle, I would try to use Pythagorean's theorem. But the problem is I have two unknowns. I don't know the value of this side, nor do I know the value of this side down here. So since I don't know the value of these sides, in order to use Pythagorean's theorem, I have to know at least what two sides is, and then go and plug into the formula to find the third side. Well, that's not the case here. And since I still have a right triangle, and they gave me a side that I know and a side that I don't know, but they did give me an angle on the inside, I'm going to use trig. So I'm going to write Sohcahtoa down, and that is some old hood rat called another hood rat taking off Adidas, or whatever acronym you want to make up to remember this. That's the one I used in high school. So I'm going to go and still label the sides as normal. This is the HYP. I'm going to put a mark on the angle they gave me. This is angle 63. Remember, we learned this is the adjacent side, and this over here is the opposite side. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for what I'm looking for and what they gave me. So I'm looking for the hypotenuse, and they gave me the opposite side. So you need to go through your Sohcahtoa and see which one has both opposite and hypotenuse in it. And that would be sine. So in order to solve this question, I would need to do sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. And I want you to write this down every time you solve the problem. So I'm going to substitute in sine of 63 equals opposite is 16, hypotenuse is x. Okay? And then we're going to go and draw the circle. And you've probably seen this in science, where you do density equals mass over volume, and then 16 over x. We'll write that like this. Then I'm trying to find this. And y'all, please do not skip these steps. If you see one on top of the other one, that means to divide. So I'm going to say x equals 16 over sine of 63. And then you would simply write what the answer for x is. So I'm going to go here. And if you don't have your PDF, just type in Desmos Scientific Calculator. And we're going to push the fraction key here. And what was that? Okay, 16 goes at the top. So 16 at the bottom, sine of 63. And we get 17.95. And it said round to the nearest 10. So that would make this go up to 10. And that 10 would make this number go up to 18. So we would say the answer here is 18 units. And we're finished. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next one. What I want you to do, and this is for both my even and my odd classes, push pause on the video and then try this out for yourself, and then come watch this to get the answer. So it says find the missing side with pause, guys. Make sure you do that and then come back. So this question says, find the missing side, round the answer to the nearest 10. So here, I know I'm going to have to use my trig. This is my HYP, and they gave me this as the angle, and I know I have to use trig because they gave me only one side, so I can't use Pythagorean's theorem. So I know I'm going to have to use Sohcahtoa. This is my adjacent side. This is my opposite side. And then I'm going to look at what I'm looking for, which is the hypotenuse, and the side that they gave me is the opposite. So I'm going to go in and use sine because it has both opposite and hypotenuse in it. So I would say sine of theta equals 16 over x. And then I would fill in sine of 15 equals 16 over x. I will graph my circle right here. Sine of 15 equals 16 over x. I'm trying to find x, so I highlight that. And I would write x equals 16 over this, write exactly what you see. Sine of 15. All right, and so x equals and I get 61.8. 61.8. Okay, so my odd classes, you can actually stop here. I think that was the only homework problem I had for you. My even classes, since this is a part of your classwork too, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next problem. And what I want you guys to do is pause the video and try the problem for yourself. Pause the video, babies, and try the problem for yourself. And then come back and push play. Alright, so I got a situation here where they're asking me to find x, but they only gave me one side, and I know this is a right triangle, so this is going to be my HYP. I know I'm going to use Sohcahtoa. I'm going to put a mark right here. This is the adjacent, and so this over here is the opposite. And here I'm given, I need to find the opposite, and they gave me the adjacent side. So the trig function with both opposite and adjacent in it is tan. So I do tan of theta equals opposite over adjacent. So tan of 50, theta is 50, equals opposite is going to be x over adjacent. So I'm going to go here, tan of 50, x over 14. Here, x equal, and there are several ways you can write this part, and y'all please be careful. Tan of 50, close the parentheses, times 14, or you can put the 14 in the front and do tan of 50. Please be careful. This 14 does not belong in the parentheses with the 50. So please be careful. That's a common mistake students make. Make sure the 14 is on the outside like this, or in front like this. Okay, so we're going to use our calculator. I'm going to say 14 times 10 of 50, 16.68 or 16.7, or you can do tan of 50 times 14, which is 16.7. So either way, you can put that in the calculator either way. So x equals 16.7, and you can always say units. All right. I want you to pause the video again, try this one out, and then when you're finished, push play and come and look at my solution. And this is for my even classes. If you're my odds class student and you're still watching this, you can stop, babies. Okay, so here, this is my HYP, and I can't use Pythagoras theorem because I only know one side. I do know this is my angle, so this is the adjacent side, and so this over here that my mark doesn't touch is the opposite side. So I know I'm going to need Sohcahtoa to help me out. So here I have adjacent over hypotenuse. This is what I'm looking for, and this is what they gave me. So I'm going to use the trig function cosine because it has both adjacent and hypotenuse in it. So I'm going to say cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 58 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So here, cos of 58, 12x. Oops. You can take your pencil and shade. I'm trying to find x, so I would say x equal, and write just what you see. 12 over cosine of 58. So I'm going to go to the calculator. Here, push my fraction key. 12. And write cos of 58. Close that up. 22.6. So x equals 22.6. And you can put units. All right. The next one, pause the video, guys. Try this one out. And then when you're done trying it out and you got your answer, push play again. Once again, if you're one of my students in my odd class and you're still working on this video, you can stop, or if you just want to work on it because you're on your free time, that's fine too. But just know you don't have to keep going through it. This one says find the missing side, round the answers to the nearest 10. This is my HYP. This is the angle I'm given this time. So this is the adjacent side. This is the opposite side. Because they only gave me one side, I have to use my trig ratios. Now if they had have given me two sides, then we could use Pythagoras theorem to find the third side. So here I'm given the adjacent side and I need to find the hypotenuse. So the trig function with both adjacent and hypotenuse in it is cosine. So I'm going to say cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So I get cosine of theta, cosine of 47 equals adjacent 28 over hypotenuse. Then I want to draw my circle. Cosine 47 equals 28 over x, 28 over x. And then I'm going to, you can take your pencil and say you're trying to solve for x. So you would say x and write exactly what you see. 28 over cosine of 47. Go to decimals. 28 instead of 47. Yep. And so we get 41, and it said to the nearest 10, so 41.1. So x equals 41.1 units. Alrighty. So I want you to once again pause, come back to it once you're finished, and then watch me work it out. Pause, babies, pause. Don't just copy the answers. Pause so you can practice. Okay. So right here is my HYP. This is the angle that I'm given. So I'm going to put the mark right here. So this is the adjacent side and this is the opposite side. So I'm going to do Sohcahtoa again. And I'm using Sohcahtoa because my it only gave me one side, so I can't use Pythagoras theorem. So here I need to look at, this is what they gave me and this is what I'm looking for. So it looks like I'm going to use cosine again because it has both the adjacent and hypotenuse in it. So cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 59 equals 34 over x. So here, cosine of 59 equals 34 over x. You probably got the hang of this by now. So x equals, and you write exactly what you see, 34 over cosine 59. Go back to decimals. 34. Is that 59? Yeah, and so we get 66.0, 6.0 in units. All right, done with that one. And here, this is the last question of this. It says in the right triangle, ABC, angles A and angle B are complementary angles. So that's saying that you can add these two together to get 90. The value of cosine A is 5 over 3. What is the value of sine B? So I'm just going to draw a triangle. And it said this is A and this is B, because if I add these two together, I get 90. And so this has to be C. And it told me that cosine of A, that means this is my HYP, This is the adjacent, and this is the opposite. And if it's telling me I have cosine of A equals 5 over 13, if you write Sohcahtoa out, then we know cosine of theta equals adjacent over the HYP. So they gave me the adjacent, which is 5 in this case, and they gave me the hypotenuse, which is 13. And then it wants me to go and find sine of B. So it wants me to do sine of theta equals, and sine is opposite over HYP, hypotenuse, and now I'm trying to do sine of B, and I know the hypotenuse is 13, but I need to find the opposite. Okay, so in order to do this, I need to relabel this triangle because my angle got changed to B this time. So it means this side is the adjacent and this side over here is the opposite. All right, so since they gave me two sides of this right triangle, I can use Pythagorean's theorem to find the third side. So I'm just going to go and say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I'm going to just say a is 5 squared plus b squared equals 13 squared. And then I get 25 plus b squared equals 169. And then I'm going to use my line method. B squared equals 144. B squared square root of both sides. So B equals 12. So this little side right here with the math is 12. And you know what? I didn't even have to do all of that. I didn't pay attention. Because guess what, babies? It said to find the opposite side. So sine of this should have been 5 over 13. So if you caught that in the very beginning, good job. So the answer is A. If you caught that in the beginning, then good. But I didn't need to find this adjacent side. So I went around the corner and back. And sometimes we do that, not paying attention to what's really going on. But just in case, if you were going to be asked to find the cosine of B, then you would have needed to find this side that I found as well. So cosine of B would be 12 over 13, but you didn't have to do that. It asked you for sine, and you had the opposite and hypotenuse already. So all you had to do was say 5 over 13. All right, so I will see you guys in class, and y'all have a good one. Bye.